us safe. So there's a lot that we can do on public safety from the federal level. There's other things that we can do specifically for our region, and I didn't mention, but the district that I'm going to represent, and I'm telling you I'm going to get elected, is we've got 6 counties: Kitsap, Mason, Jefferson, Clallam, Grays Harbor, and then part of Pierce County. So it's a big district, but everybody wants change. We're all facing the same issues. We've got Guatemalan drug gangs in Mason County. We've got drugs pouring across the border in Clallam County from the north and from the sea. The law enforcement per capita rate in our nation, we're 51st in the nation in Washington State. We have got to do better. Oh, boy, there's so much. Emily Randall, she's representing special interests. There's things that specifically we can do for economic development out here in Grays Harbor County. We can support our timber industry. Emily's, yeah, definitely. So I'm old enough to remember I came to every corner of this district over my lifetime. I can remember when we had a bustling coast, we had a booming timber industry, we had a booming maritime industry, we had national parks and national forests that were open, and we had all the tourism dollars that went with that. You know, I remember when we had the Earth Liberation Front hanging off the trees out on the coast, and environmental policy that's been bad for the past 40 years that has decimated our economy out here. I got into this race personally. I've got 30 years of regulatory compliance. I can do this job. I won't bore you with all the details, but I've got a track record of bringing in multi-million-dollar projects on time, under budget, and safely. So I can do the job. I've worked with many of the laws and regulations that support our industries out here. Emily's doing some things like land transfer acts for the tribe that's going to take more thousands of acres out of timber production. In turn, that's going to reduce the timber receipts that go to support our public schools. We need to repeal those, claw those back before they get passed in Congress. Emily has recently reintroduced and resurrected the Wild Olympics Act. Exactly. So what we need to do is we need to get a voice at the federal level. Emily's representing illegal aliens and abortion rights in other states and a bunch of things that don't matter to our working families out here. So we need to start getting ourselves a voice in Congress and start supporting our law enforcement agencies and working on our economic development. I'm going to take a second here and tell you what I remember specifically about Ocean Shores. Back in 1979, I remember coming down as a kid when we had the shipwreck of the Catala, and what a big deal that was. That was pretty fun. And then we used to come down here for the Fog Festival. Anybody, woohoo! Anybody old enough to remember that, right? Well, that was a fun time too. But I do know our district, and I can represent our working families and the needs of our district. I'm going to carry a couple special messages to all of us today. I had the honor of meeting Casey Crosby, the co-chairman of the National Republican Committee, the other night over in Bellevue, and I want you guys to know that I took the opportunity. She told me that she talks to President Trump on an almost daily basis. And besides talking to her about my campaign, I relayed how we are dying out here with the drugs and we need help with our public safety issues. I also conveyed to her that we're living under tyranny out here, that our Constitution is being trampled, and things like the Constitution, the warrantless warrants, taking away our right to elect our own sheriffs and make our voices heard. I told her how important that was to us. And the one campaign promise that I'm going to make is that when I get back into the House, I am going to do everything in my power to take Bob Ferguson and Nick Brown and hold them accountable. So Casey talked to me a lot about statistics and modeling and how we have got to start voting out here. So one message that I want to carry is that if we want to make changes in public safety and taxes and stop the tyranny, we have got to tell every single person that we know that the votes are out there if we could just get people to vote. Grays Harbor County is the lowest turnout in all of the 6 counties that I'm looking at right now. So please, please tell everybody to vote. That will help all of us in the big long term. Get on it, Larry. Let's get everybody to turn out to vote. I don't know why they're not voting. There's a lot of people. There are 700,000 to 800,000 people across the state. There are churchgoers that aren't voting. We've got voter apathy. We've got vote by mail. I don't know why we can't turn those votes in, but do tell everybody that you know. The last message that I want to carry, and I've got my little list. So it's so important that we vote for our Supreme Court justices. And one of the big problems with that is people undervote. They don't vote for the judges because they don't want to make a mistake. They don't want to make a mistake and vote for the wrong guy. So, if you guys got one of these flyers, did everybody get a flyer? No. Listen to me very carefully. Scott Edwards, David Stevens, Sean O'Donnell, Dave Larson, and Todd Bloom. Those are who are being recommended because they're nonpartisan positions. But those are the folks that are being recommended for our Supreme Court justices. And that's huge because we want to make sure that our law enforcement and our constitutional rights are upheld at the Supreme Court of Washington level. So, in closing, I will just say that I'm really inspired. It did my heart good to be in the parade today and see that this is still America out here in Washington State. And as we near 250 years of this great country, I'm reminded of the words of our founding father that from time to time, the tree of liberty must be refreshed. And that time is now. The time is right for us to make change in Washington State. We've got a lot of great patriots in this room. We've got a lot of great patriots doing good things for us down in Olympia. I'm Teresa Fox. I'm a red-blooded American patriot, and I want to do great things for us in Washington, D.C. Thank you.